Well, hello YouTubers, Facebookers, all other onlookers. Jimmy Brown coming at you from a little room here in the Strip. Can't see the Strip though because the sun's blocking everything. Um, so I'm calling this one the Haps. I'm going to keep it quick, short, sweet, possible. A lot of you guys know um, that we departed Alabama, and it was quick. It was rushed. A lot of people wondered why, if something went down, if something bad happened, and I wanted to kind of alleviate everybody's cause or everybody's concerns. Um, what had happened is that we moved there for some great opportunities, um, and in the midst of my working at Three Frogs and Helen and I doing our soap company, our business, um, in the midst of it, I just for the first time I started getting different ailments, um, mostly skin conditions. We're not talking just like a couple of rashes and everything else. I mean, we're talking some stuff that took specialists to help me. Um, even one condition so great that it actually required a surgery, and it was not a cosmetic plastic surgery. It was a necessary surgery. Um, that of course, they first brought up the C word, and that scared the living daylights out of me. But is what it is, but it didn't turn out to be that, thank God. And just but it still was a pretty serious autoimmune issue. Um, and it just actually came to grips that after tests and biopsies and um, all this other stuff that's really what it all was. It was all autoimmune issues, and they were putting me on just a slew of medications, and being self-employed, you don't have the luxury of having medical insurance. So this was all costing tons and tons and tons of money. And the last bout that I had, that I dealt with, which was in December going into January, and finally in January, the two specialists that I was seeing um, throughout everything since my surgery in June, um, they did my blood work. They did, again, more biopsies, and they finally just said, unfortunately, because they had to ask, where are you from? What area do you live in? Um, and because of where I lived, it was very rural. It was, you walk out my back door and you're in the woods. And for those of you who have not visited Alabama, you just go down any major, what I like to call street, because I don't, what they call highways out there, I don't, growing up in LA, to me a freeway's a highway, so, I'm used to freeways to do everything. Out there, it's just, you get on one of those highways that they call it, 231, whatever, 331, all of those. It's just miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of trees. So it's literally like you're just in the forest. And then Troy's just a couple hundred feet above sea level. So it's like pretty much a lot of the locals told me it's swamp. It's pretty much swamp area. So, but all that aside, they just said that for whatever reason your immune system is not acclimating. Your allergies are not acclimating. Your body is rejecting everything. I mean, I couldn't walk outside, and blade of grass accidentally blew in the wind and touched me, and it wasn't just like just hives. It was bad, and so it you know the last specialist I spoke to is a very awesome doctor, and he just said, is I'd really consider desert living for you, or going back to where you grew up. Because it's funny, oddly enough, I didn't deal with asthma there. I was born with asthma, and you know, so it's funny, but but I deal with it here. But all the other issues, I mean, my skin's clearing up, and all these different things that I've been taking boatloads of medication for, it's seeming like they're just going away magically since I've been back. So, and I think it's just because my immune system is used to this environment. So that's where that led. And then, I don't want to get too deep and too personal about, the business side of things, but that wasn't happening for me as well because, um, you know, being self-employed and being an employee are two different things. And, being an employee, I'm used to getting into a company and, working with thousands of other people and, rising in the ranks quickly. And, when you're self-employed, which even though I worked at someone else's studio, it was pretty much like I was self-employed to a degree, and I had to bring in a certain amount of business. Well, being out in the middle of nowhere, while quite an actually wonderful experience for any recording artist to be able to work freely in that kind of environment. But unless you're working with, $100, $200, $300,000 budget, and to be able to go out there and spend a month out there, it's just not, it's not going to happen. And that's kind of just where things were at with it. And then we were in the wrong venue, the wrong demographic for mine and my wife's, soap company. Nobody got it. Everybody used goat milk soap. Nobody understood plant-based vegan soap and vegan products and all that. So nothing bad happened in the sense that it just, all of this stuff, and primarily the illnesses, just started taking their toll on me mentally. And so mentally, I couldn't deal with it anymore. And that last visit to the doctor and the huge amounts of medication that he gave me to try to keep these things at bay in my body and help my body relearn to fight these things, and how expensive they are, I couldn't deal with it anymore. And mentally, I felt like I was losing it. I was losing my mind. And again, I hate using social media, but there's just so many inquiries as to what has been going on, and I just wanted to let everybody know. While this was a hard move, this was a rough move. It was very, very sudden, and it was quick, which is something I don't do. I plan, and like I said, if it wasn't for wonderful good friends and family, like Kevin Platt, like Jim Chaffin, Manny Morales, Adele Meisenheimer, Matt Hunt, just all these people helping come together to rescue me out of the situation. That's what it came to, because it was just for my health. It was for my, and not only my physical health, but my mental health mostly, because anybody knows I'm an open book, and I've dealt with anxiety issues and all sorts of stuff, depression, those kind of things, and usually the biggest outlet for me is music. It's a good way for me to express how I'm feeling and all of these different things. but now this was something serious. This was something that music couldn't even cure and alleviate for me, because it was just scary, and I didn't know what was going on. And then when your team of specialists that are costing you an arm and a leg are just coming back with result after result after result, telling you that your body is not acclimating, your body's rejecting all the normal allergens. And I tried homeopath, I tried the natural route, I tried every which way possible, and nothing was working, nothing. And so that was why his last suggestion was, you should probably reconsider, for your health's sake, maybe, go see your family, go hang out, go back to where you grew up, and let your body reacclimate, let your mind reacclimate. And the guy was a believer, a real sweet guy, and and he just said, and let your soul reacclimate, and your spirit, and just kind of gather yourself again. And he goes, and you'll probably see some results. And he says, and quickly you'll see results. And I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them. But don't think for one second that it hasn't been a rough road. It's been a rough road for me and for my family for the past year and a half that I've been dealing with all this. And again, I just I like to be an open book, especially because of all the inquiries. Everybody wanted to hear some gruesome tales and some gory truths and all this other stuff. And the reality was, it was just time for me to bail. It was time for me to go. And but for my health's sake, mental, spiritual, physical, it was just time for me to go. So no gore stories, no horror stories, no this happened and that happened and blah 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 blah. Typical Jimmy Brown rant. Nothing like that. It was just time for me to go. And we're having a little bit of a rough time finding a place, finding a spot, finding where we're going to fit, finding where what are we going to do? Because again, I didn't own Three Frogs, so it wasn't my company. Like I said, I was treated very much like a partner. I was treated very much like as a self-employed employee, but nonetheless, that's that's what it was. But not having insurance and all this stuff just pretty much destroyed us financially. And I just came back west to rebuild, to find myself again, to find. It's a journey, That's the beauty of life. Life is really a fantastic voyage, and that's where it's at. So, again, just wanted to let you know. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of what happened, why the sudden move. And I love that literally hundreds of you that are so concerned and sent all these emails. If it was 10 or 20, I probably would have just emailed you all. But I've had hundreds and hundreds of emails of people that are just so concerned and wanted to know what happened. Well, that's what happened. So I'm just, I had to get away for my health's sake, and to see stress levels go down, to see, because that was adding to it. They said, your stress and anxiety are just, making the situation worse. They're making your body even repel more, and your autoimmune system is literally next to nothing. But I'm seeing results, even just being back for 10, 12 days. I'm seeing results, and trying to get in a better place mentally. So that's where we be. That's where we at. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because like I said, the amazing amount of love and concern for me, or just people looking to gossip, I don't know. Anyways, so we kept this at 15, and we're going to leave it at that. But thank you again for all your love, your care, your concern, and I look forward to the next video chat. So again, Jimmy P. Brown II signing off from Vegas, heading to Cali again. We'll see you soon.